All right, so we got Cameron that's coming up on the line here. What's up there, Cameron?
Why did I pour
You're
my beer
coming
into a
at us.
shot glass?
I don't know. I thought
John,
it was whiskey. What's up, Cameron?
John, I think your hat's kind of square. Just so you know, it's filled with squares and rectangles and just stuff.
Yeah, it
but
is.
Anyways, have you heard of Russell's paradox?
I didn't know
paradox?
I had one. It involves with set theory, and there's a paradox where the set of all sets contain the set of all sets, and not. I mean, there's one difference, and I can explain it. And this deals with God.
This is totally different from what you told the. Yeah, I'm sorry, Cameron. This is totally different, I feel, from what you told the call-in screener that you wanted to talk about. But I mean, I'm fine with that. It's just,
it's a side way. It's kind of a side way into it of what I want to talk about.
It's a side way into it. Could we not Tokyo drift our way into the argument instead? Can we just actually can you give me what you say that you can prove Spinoza's God, right?
Well, let's hear the argument, and then you can deduce what we can deduce out of it after that. But
by all means,
can something have value if it's a concept or an idea if we don't have access to it?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're making the argument, but you're making the argument by asking us questions?
I want to kind of do a Socratic method.
Okay. Can something have value if we don't have access? Are we talking about NFTs?
No. So I'm saying our thoughts, our ideas, our concepts, our symbols have value.
Okay.
But for something to have value, like a tool, you must have access to it. If you don't have access to it, then whatever you're talking about doesn't have meaning to be able to use.
Well, I'm desperately looking for an exception. I mean, what is the right? What is women's right to bodily autonomy? I don't have any access to that.
No, but you have access to the idea.
Well, what does it mean to have access to an idea?
So ideas can be tools, and then for a tool to be useful, you have to have access to it.
I don't know. I know a lot of tools who are not useful at all. I'm sorry.
Well, you need to know how to use it. It needs to be meaningful, and it needs to be accessible and useful.
I'm sorry,
okay.
Cameron, have you been huffing Jordan Peterson's asshole?
Oh, boy. No, I do sound like him, though, and I know that's terribly concerning to you and to me.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry that it's concerning to you, but no, I'm just, because of the argument that you seem to be trying to make through the Socratic method here. I mean,
well,
Aron, I don't know if you're picking up what he's putting down, but he's putting it down, and I'm just not seeing what he's putting down.
No, I'm still having problems with the last caller because I feel like that was a personal failure. I keep trying to ask this guy what his problem is, and he won't say. He's got to know what his problem is, but he won't say. And so this theist, I want to hear what his argument is. I want to hear what his premise is. I want to hear what his conclusions are. I want to, what his challenge to me might be. I'm not hearing it.
Right. Cameron, is there a way that maybe you can distill this down into a syllogism or just a statement or something?
Yeah, well, I was trying to get the background that if something is meaningful and useful, like a tool, you have to have access to it. If you don't have access to a tool like a phone, if you're in the middle of Alaska, then it's no good to you if it's not useful. Does that make sense?
What does this have to do with God? Is God a tool? Is he a screwdriver where he fucks us every Sunday?
No.
Like what the?
So the belief in God, the concept of God, mathematics, and logic can all have use to a person. Is that correct?
Yes, logic and mathematics definitely have uses to a person. God, not so much.
Where does it exist?
Where does what exist?
Logic and math and your belief in God, where does it exist?
We were talking about physics earlier. Would you not agree that physics is reality turned into math?
Yes, I completely agree with that.
Okay, so that's where it is everywhere.
Right.
No, well, where the ideas exist.
Hold on. Logic. Hold on, Cameron. So logic and math are going to be human-made descriptions of what we experience in reality. So they are describing our physical world. You're asking where do they exist? Well, they are descriptions of the physical world. So they exist in the physical world. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, no, let me. How can you use the? You have to have accessible to those ideas, and where you access it is in the brain. So when you have a memory of an idea or a concept, it exists, and it exists in the brain because that's where you get access.
And apparently not just mine, but in a lot of other people's brains too.
Right. Now we can write it. We can write down stuff in a book, and that'll last as long as we have the book and somebody has access to it.
Okay.
So if you have a belief in God, that belief can have meaning or value
by that
or
particular lie. Okay.
It depends upon your perspective. Okay.
Yeah, and mine is that is just a bullshit lie, and so anybody that believes that has been duped. So you believe in God, then you've been duped by that particular lie. Continue.
Let me ask you this, Cameron. Let me playing off of what Aron just said right there. If this God doesn't comport with reality, and do you see the ability for that idea that doesn't comport with reality to become harmful to you and other people?
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. If you have a belief that doesn't conform to reality and that's harmful to others, like transgender people aren't real, that's a bad idea.
Okay, so since religion and the idea of God does not comport with what we experience in reality, that means that it is potentially very harmful to humanity.
Absolutely.
Are you making an argument for us here?
I think you should decide when I'm done.
Yeah, let's see if we can get there.
Okay, so
I just can't call you John. It's just John.
You can call him Square Mario.
Godless. I don't know why you gotta hate on Mario Brothers like the first one. Like I don't understand what that's about. But yeah, whatever. Can we? I'm sorry, my ADHD brain right now is like really kind of fucking wigging out because you're taking so fucking long to get to your point. Can we progress to the point? Like whatever point you're trying to make, can we progress to it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say logic, math, and potentially other beliefs have value, but
logic
this is
and
where
math is a belief. Are you saying math is a belief?
Yeah, that's what he said.
But the belief, I believe in math, and the math works. So things
I believe
can be
math works
factual.
Too, but I don't believe. We're talking about two different contexts. I mean, I can say that I believe something when that's what I think is true, but I don't know that it's true. Or I could say that I believe something, meaning that I'm determined to make believe that thing, whether it's true or not. And that's one of the big problems we have when we're talking to theists. We're using the same words, but with different, from different lexicons. They have different definitions. So when you say belief, do you mean something you think is true but don't know to be true? Or do you mean something that you're going to believe that even if it's not true?
Well, from the perspective of the user who believes, that has value. But let's just go to math and logic because that's more concrete.
But I don't have to
math and logic is useful
because math can literally prove itself.
Right.
Okay.
So math and logic are useful. Math and logic are useful.
And not a belief.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, not a belief. Okay. But where do you use math and logic from your brain? So when you have a concept, when you have an abstract concept that exists in your brain, and you need to be able to access it, and the only time you can access it is when you're coherent and you're alive. Once you're dead, you have no access.
But it hurt.
No. So like I've been incoherent multiple times, and I've been able to access like math. I could do math. Okay, so one shot plus one shot equals too many.
Okay.
So I can still count too. When I one, a couple, a few, many, a lot.
Okay. So can you use math and logic when you're dead?
No.
Right. So math can be true, and it can also be false to the user when they're dead, or not have value.
What?
Wrong.
When you're dead, you cannot use math and logic.
Drive when you're dead too, but that doesn't mean that driving
you can't do
is
anything.
False. Right.
So this is the idea that you don't have access to the information when you're dead. And this is
right, because you're kind of dead. So when you're, at least we agree that when you're dead, you can't do shit. You don't know things, you don't feel things, you don't remember things. You don't haunt your ex, none of that.
Right. So whether your perspective, if you're alive or dead, changes the set value. Because once you're dead, you can't be an active part of the set because you're dead. Right. But when you're alive, you are an active part of the set.
Okay.
I don't understand.
So if you become a championship bowler, you used to be in the NBA and you were an all-star, but now you're a bowler and you don't play basketball anymore, then basketball isn't false anymore. You become irrelevant to it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't understand why you're throwing in set theory now. Like what? Like you say that the set has changed, but I don't understand what in the fuck that has to do with anything.
Russell's paradox, which I'm trying to solve here.
Okay. Do you believe in God? Okay. Do you believe in God?
I don't know. It depends upon what you.
Okay.
Abrahamic God.
What do you think God is?
Theistic God? No.
Okay. What do you think God is?
What did you say?
How do you define God?
The best. I don't think God exists, but if God does exist, it would be Spinoza's God and the God's universe. But
he's not God. You just literally don't believe in God. So you literally don't believe in God.
I go back and forth. It depends upon your definition.
No, if you believe in Spinoza's God, then you literally don't believe in God. Because Spinoza didn't believe in God. Spinoza believed in an anthropomorphic personification of natural events that could not be confused with a magical anthropomorphic immortal. And Einstein clarified this, that he also believed in Spinoza's God, but that from the perspective of a Christian, he should be considered an atheist because he didn't believe in the supernatural. He didn't believe in a deity, as we understand that word. So you flat out do not believe in a God.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
All right, I have to ask, what the fuck are you trying to prove to us? Like, what in the fuck are we doing here? I have no clue. I'm so fucking lost at this point.
I'm trying to solve Russell's paradox. And if you don't know what it is, then you're going to be confused. But the crux of it is if you're alive or dead.
So, I'm sorry, sir. This is not Call a Mathematician. This is like a fucking atheist show, right? Like we're here to like either prove God or not prove God. Like, that's the entire title of the show. That's the purpose of this channel, at least on the Skep Talk night. Like, you understand that neither of us are mathematicians, right? Like, I got a minor in math, but that's not going to be able to solve your paradox here.
Pretty sure we were not talking about math.
Oh, I have a degree in math, but that's not relevant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not relevant.
So people have a belief in God. If that belief is positive, they can only use it when they're alive. If they're dead,
and they can only use it if a God exists. Otherwise, it's just a delusion.
Oh, I agree with that. But the belief could have positive things, essentially, depending upon
that's arguable.
what it is. And it could have positive things along with a lot more negative things.
Yeah, I would say on the whole, no. Belief in God is overwhelmingly negative.
I agree. But I'm trying to get to the point of Russell's paradox.
13.3% ABV. So good. Perfect for the holidays.
So what I'm saying is, if you're alive, you have access to information, concepts, symbols, and stuff. And when you're dead, you don't. And that's Russell's paradox.
Yeah, which means that Netflix has no value once you're dead.
Correct. None of my stocks have value to me when I'm dead.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck about this. I don't give a fuck about what's accessible to me, like after I'm dead or not. Like, it has no like, you know what happens after I'm dead? I don't give a fuck because I'm dead. Okay, like I don't care. But the point is this why are we stroking this particular mental dick right now?
I discovered the model of the universe, which nobody's going to believe me when I try to talk about it. And solving Russell's paradox. Right, I know you don't. But solving Russell's paradox is an end.
Okay, so you know what it's a funny thing. I feel so naive, so childishly naive, that when we get a theist caller, one, that they're going to believe in God. You don't. And two, I'm expecting that they're going to give me a reason why they believe in God. Never happens. Instead, they always play some ridiculous mind game of irrelevancies versus irrelevancies until we get so bored that we're like, the fuck you even talking about?
Well,
I'm sorry. Was I unnecessarily rude? I don't mean to be. I'm sorry.
No, you guys are fine. You can be as skeptical as you want to be.
I wasn't trying to be rude. I mean, it just happens naturally. It's genetic, I think.
I'm so sorry,
you have
Cameron.
A point?
Yes.
Yeah.
My point is,
okay. What is it?
I solved Russell's paradox, and that's about perspective. And perspective often is about if you're alive or dead, and that goes into the formula.
A lot of things matter
as well
when you're alive that don't matter when you're dead. I'm glad you elucidated that for us, because boy, I was going to be so worried about my subscriptions when I'm dead and how much I'm going to be interested in reading those magazines after I'm gone. Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay, Cameron, we're going to move on to more substantial conversations.
Yeah. I would just like anybody who knows what Russell's paradox is to go look at it and think about it for themselves, to think if I'm just full of shit, just crazy,
Cameron,
or if I have
Cameron, if you solve this mathematical thing, write a paper, do whatever mathematicians do in order to get recognized, win a Nobel Prize, whatever the fuck.
No. It's Russell's paradox. It's already been done.
Okay.
See, I don't know anything about Russell's paradox because like I said, I'm an engineer. I'm not a mathematician. But
I thought that was all about engineering.
Oh well, I mean, I just haven't looked it up, so I probably crossed it at one point in my career. But I write helicopter shit. So I don't know. But anyways, thank you so much, Cameron.
Okay, thanks.
I'm gonna go ahead and drop. But anyways,
right, so do we have any theists?
Fucking interesting.
Do we have any theist?
We do.
Do we have any theist callers who actually believe in God?
That I hope that this one does.
Hey, do you think this clip just fell out of a coconut tree? No, it did. Okay, now technically I did build the channel into a coconut tree and it did fall out. And also that our internet router is up there. Actually, in a lot of ways, this production fell out of a coconut tree, but we could only afford that because people like you supported us for $5 a month over where is that, Eric?
Patreon.com/calltheline. And
that's right.
Jimmy will,
you got it.
Yeah, be grateful. Yeah.
We have an exclusive patron podcast over there. Check it out. Thumbs up with it, Eric. We talked about this in the meeting. We have to both.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go.